Hi guys, Simon Pavey here from the Off-Road School. I'm here with Craig Keyworth and we're going to talk to you about GS Trophy. GS Trophy is a fantastic event that BMW runs every year up in South Wales. It's an event that's all about just bringing BMW motorcyclists together for a great weekend, a lot of fun, all different sorts of challenges, but basically mainly a fun weekend. Out of that, we ultimately do have some winners of the event. There's a little bit of competition element to it, and Craig here was lucky enough to be one of the winners last time round, which then qualified him to go on the experience of a lifetime, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think so. So far, let's
so
not write
far.
it all
Yeah,
off just
okay.
yet, but certainly so far it's been pretty
Experience
good.
of
So
lifetime
yes.
up until now.
Yeah. So yeah, as you were saying, I think I've told you the story before about how I came across the GS Trophy. And you know, I'd bought a GS. I'd seen Ewan and Charlie on the television, you know, and I thought, fancied a bit of a trip, so bought myself the GS. Went off, did a bit of a trip, came home, and thought, now what? So, literally Googled things to do on an adventure bike, competitions to do on an adventure bike, no less, and stumbled across the GS Trophy.
Okay,
and that was the first one that I did, which was the 2015.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously did fabulously. It was like, beat Charlie Borman because he was there that year. Yeah.
Didn't he cheat to get into the final?
Yeah, he didn't make it at all. But I think because he was an ambassador or whatever, he kind of like circumnavigated all the rules and got himself in. So yeah, anyway, he then fell out again because he was, you know, just not up to speed.
Obviously.
So yeah, all the way through to the final, was doing really well. I hadn't realised really what I was doing and what the event was. All I did was I phoned up a couple of weeks beforehand and got on it. And it wasn't until I was in the final that I realised what you were winning. You know, that you could win like the trip of a lifetime with, you know, get on your UK team. And then I threw it all away.
Pressure got to you.
Pressure got to me, yeah. And so I drove home from Wales to Lincolnshire. And by the time I got home, my jaw was aching because I was so angry with myself. So I came back 2 years later, determined. I came on my own, like so focused. I'm having it. Anybody that listened, I would tell, I'm going to win. I'm going to have it. So it's not really the spirit of the event, I know that now. But yeah, I was lucky enough to get through. So I qualified. I was actually second place on the UK leg. And Pete Twigg, who came first, I actually pushed him over the finish line in the final.
Oh,
so
really?
I gifted him the win. He didn't ride at all. I literally, because we ran around a lake for the final. So I was kind of here. This is how I earned my place in Mongolia. Was pushing
someone.
No keys in the bike, of course.
Yeah,
that was part of the challenge. And Pete just put his feet up and got pushed into the final. So
and I think that's a big part of the event for me. Is that, okay, it is a motorcycling event, but there's a lot of other bits to it, isn't there?
So much. And actually, that was probably the most tense part for me. You know, because I know I can ride a bike. You know, these things are just like they're like enduro bikes. So I was happy enough with that, but. Yeah, the other bits, you know, the stuff that you couldn't possibly capture. So it wasn't in this year's final, but in the last year's final, you know, the bag on your head, the riding blind. that was a bit of a curveball.
Who thought that up?
Oh, it was
what
terrifying.
A crazy
That's
idea.
actually the most terrifying thing I've ever done. Riding along a car park with a blindfold on and a bag over your head to try and hit a road cone that was only, 200 metres away. Impossible. And terrifying. You're never more aware than your own breath, other than when you're riding a 1200cc motorcycle blindfolded. Yeah. But yeah, really cool event. And like for the money as well. I mean, it's £99.
Yeah,
it's £99. Or has it gone up this year?
It's gone up a little bit.
Oh, right, okay. How much is it this year?
$125, but you get 2 nights accommodation and 4 meals and all that for that now. So.
£125. You don't use your own bikes off-road, so you turn up on your own beautiful, unscratched GSs, and then you ruin yours. You know?
Awesome, great.
Yeah. So like you cannot get that sort of like, you know, even a weekend's enduro is going to cost you more than that, but you're doing it on, you know, on like the most accomplished adventure bike in the world, shall we say?
Tick.
Yeah,
correct.
So I just underline that one. So yeah, fabulous. And then of course Mongolia for me. You know.
So tell us about Mongolia. How was that whole thing like from meeting up? Because it's a team event especially once you go to the final, it becomes a team event rather than an individual thing. So there's three riders or four?
So there was 3 of us plus a press guy. So obviously there was myself, Pete Twigg, who came first in the UK final. I came second. And then Pete Urquhart, Pete was actually a stand-in because Ben Luca came third. But Ben, daft lad, he just didn't keep it in his pants. Terrible planning. And he got his wife pregnant, and the baby was due typically the weekend that we were going to Mongolia. So he had to bow out, and then Pete came fourth, so he stepped in. So amazing, really. A month and a half to go, and thought he wasn't through. Got the phone call to say, come to Mongolia. So we all sort of hooked up before we got to Mongolia. We went riding. We came to see yourself, of course, in Wales, and had a day with yourself. But we did a lot of other riding. We did a lot of sort of off-road riding, a lot of enduro riding. Of course, we all got hold of GSs, ORS GSs. Went off training on the GS. Had a lot of fun, actually. It was a good year. Genuinely what? I mean, obviously, I'm going to say what a great year, what a great bike, whatever else. But as we were saying earlier down there, I in a privileged position to have a few bikes, and that last year just playing on GSs and just seeing what they can do, I kind of blew myself away, really.
I think for me that's always one of the fantastic parts about any event you do as well, isn't it? Whether it is just coming to our UK qualifier or any event you go to, half the story and half the enjoyment is often more than the event. It's all the build-up, isn't it? And doing stuff with your mates and getting ready for an event, and excitement.
And I made friends. I made friends in Mongolia from the other teams. Not necessarily with the Argentinians, but we made friends.
Oh yeah, there's a story there.
Well, there's got to be a bit of rivalry. It's a competition after all. So pick some enemies, hunt them down, and then make friends with everyone else. But no, it's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So I'm still friendly with the guys, the French team, the US team. There was a real sort of camaraderie. And I'm a really competitive person, as I mentioned. I came hunting to get onto the trophy team last year. But once we got to Mongolia, that kind of wasn't what it was about. It was actually, some of the takeaways from that trip, from that Mongolia, that rally, if you like, wasn't what I thought it would be at all. Some of the most amazing moments actually weren't about the bike at all. Myself and Llewellyn, we were playing in the desert, and we stopped. They work on the sort of watch the man behind you rule.
Yeah.
A couple of the guys at the back, I think they just stopped for a pee or something, but we sat in the desert. The Mongolia was huge, just massive, and to be there, anyone could take themselves to Mongolia. Anyone could take themselves to one of these places anywhere in the world. Guys that are spending 15, 16, 18,000 pounds on a GS can probably put their hand in their pocket, take themselves off anywhere they want.
Absolutely.
But it's not. It's the circus. It's about being part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And you just sat in the middle of a desert waiting for your mate to come. It's crazy, It's you can't buy that. And we had our dinner delivered by a helicopter. I wasn't too cool. I videoed it. I like to think I'm pretty casual, but when your dinner arrives on this helicopter, the phone's coming out. And there's my pack up. So, that was one of the biggest takeaways. Was that step in Mongolia. It's massive. You stop to get your bearings, which means to take a pee. Everyone else stops as well. And you stop and you just look and you kind of, a full 360, you can see nothing. And you're there on a, 125 horsepower, 130 mile an hour bike, and you're like a dog at the beach.
Yeah, amazing.
It's just amazing experience.
Proper experience.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's obviously inspired you to go on to bigger and better things
it
now.
Has actually, it has. Yeah. So as you know, since getting back from Mongolia, I've had a bit of a midlife crisis here, really. I subsequently went on to do the Rally de Maroc. Finished that, did quite well in that. That was quite nice. And
once again, because you're a little bit competitive.
Just a little bit competitive, yeah. So I arrived day one, just finished the rally, just because I had bigger things on my mind. Obviously, on everyone's lips, really. Every biker, everybody that's thrown a leg over a GS or any adventure bike, the pinnacle's always Dakar, and that's where it is for me. I don't need to explain to you. It gets under your skin. That was my trip to do the Rally de Maroc. Was about doing a qualifying event for Dakar. And like you say, competitive. It was about finishing, and then as I went through the week, I was starting to crawl up the leaderboard a little bit, and got the bit between my teeth.
So there you go. The real story is, come and spend 100 quid with us for a weekend.
125.
Have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of fun in Wales, riding GSs, and before you know it, you'll be going to Dakar.
Absolutely. Yeah. There we go.